Hey you guys, it's Kristen. Welcome back for another Artist Spotlight video. Today's video is with Alex of the Pudgy Art Bandit, and she does amazing work with sculpting clay. So she uses cutout pieces of paper, basically like templates, and shows you how to cut them out and add dimension and color and all this really cool, like truly artistic things. And then she even shows at the end of the video how to take a normal like cookie cutter pumpkin or a ghost and then to make it look a little bit more custom and a little more realistic. So she shows you that at the end of the video. She has an amazing shop that you guys need to check out. She has all sorts of really cool stuff over there, and she was kind enough to create a printable for you guys to be able to print out the template for the ghost and the pumpkin earring so you can make these at home. So there will be a link in the description box down below where you can download that file if you want to make these yourself. Without further ado, here is Alex.
Hey guys, I'm gonna show you how to turn a 2D design into something a little more three-dimensional. So I've got this printable here that I've made, and we're just going to go ahead and cut these pieces out. I'm going to do this larger size just so that's a little bit easier to see on the camera. Alright, once you have these cut out, you can start the process of making them. So we're going to start with the ghost. So you just need a sheet of white clay. This on a thicker setting than I would regular earrings, just because we're going to push some of the clay down and you don't want it too thin on those parts. You're going to go ahead and place the entirety of the shape on the clay. You're going to push it down kind of firm so that it is definitely stuck to your clay. You don't want it to move. You're going to take some sort of tool to be able to trace it out. You can use pencil, but this does mark on your clay, so I don't really recommend it, but if that's easier for you, you can totally do that and just clean it up afterwards. Once you've traced it, you're going to pop this off, and you're going to take an X-Acto knife and you're going to cut that design out. You want your X-Acto knife to be up and down. This way you don't have part of the bottom towards the back cut out at an angle or part of the top cut out at an angle. I'm going to put this on a tile so that I can kind of show you all the angle that you want to put it at. So if we're going to pretend that this is my flat surface here, right here, you're going to have your X-Acto knife up and down while you cut it out. Once you've done that, you can see it's a very rough outside shape. You're going to gently pick it up and smooth the edges. For the little parts that you can't get into, a silicone tip tool really helps. Once you have this, you're going to take these little pieces you've cut out, and you're going to place them where they go on the ghost. Again, you're going to push down a little firm to get it to stick to the clay. Alright, what this does is creates a guide for you to put those inside lines. So you're going to use a tool to mark those lines there. I prefer this smaller needle tool, but you can use just about anything that's going to leave an impression. And you're going to go around the outside. You can go as high as you want. The higher you go, you know, the different drapey type look you're going to have. If you pull it up higher, you're going to have a more drapey type look to it, and if you go lower, it's going to look more stiff. So you're going to go ahead and only do one side on here because it's against the edge right here, but for this middle piece, you're going to go on both sides. I like a really drapey look, so I went a little bit higher with these than the actual drawing. And then you're just going to pull these off. You can see here you've got those drapey sheet lines. So you're going to put those to the side, and you're going to grab the little arms and place them.
I'm interrupting this video for one quick minute just to make sure that you know about all the amazing resources that we have for you over in our Etsy shop for polymer clay artists. So the first one is the complete guide to polymer clay earrings. This is a step-by-step guide. All the details of the best clays to use, conditioning your clay, baking your clay. Literally everything is in this ebook, more than we can cover in videos and things like that, just because there's a ton of it. A huge resource list with links and that sort of thing. So that's over in the Etsy shop. Another thing is the Getting Started on Etsy book. It's a complete guide to getting started on Etsy. So if you're just starting out and you're interested in selling your polymer clay earrings, this is a great resource for you to be able to hit the ground running, get those items listed, and hopefully start making sales. Another one is our brand new product photography ebook. This one is huge if you're selling online. Your product photos need to stand out and be bright and beautiful, and sometimes that can be a little bit tricky if you don't have much experience. So this product photography ebook will walk you through the steps of getting fantastic photos with you know, not super expensive equipment and things like that. Just little tricks and things that you can use to get the best photos possible. And lastly, we have polymer clay color recipes. So I have tons of kits over there with a huge variety of colors. I have a fall one that's out now, a Christmas one. We've got pinks, purples, one with just like a wide variety. So those recipes tell you exactly what colors to blend together to make whatever color it is that you're looking for. So that's also a great resource for polymer clay artists. All right, I'm done with the little advertisement in this video. I hope you'll check us out on Etsy. The link will be in the description box down below, and we are at etsy.com/shop/dashing and dainty. All right, let's get back to the video.
Again, push them down firmly. And then you're just going to, again, drag your tool across the outside here. You don't need to do anything with this part because it's already been cut out. You're going to lift them up. And there you've got the arms defined. I went a little outside here, so I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Drag it up here. Now you can place your eyes if you'd like. Cutting out the eyes is a little tedious, so if you are happy and comfortable using, you know, a ball-ended tool or just kind of eyeballing it, you can definitely, you know, just make the eyes yourself instead of having to place these. And once they're placed, you're going to do the same thing and just trace around it. You're going to take a tool that will help you define the shadows, the places where the paint is going to sit. I prefer using this tool. It's like a dental wood carving. You can look up either of those words on like Amazon and you will get a bunch of tools that will come up. This has a slight curve to it that makes it a little bit easier to work with because I don't work at a completely flat angle. I work kind of from above, so that really helps, and that little tip right there helps get into the tighter spots. And so what you're going to do is you want the arms to be set just a little bit further back, and you want the paint to kind of sit in these like creases. So you're going to just kind of gently push down where we made those lines. And what that does is when we put the wash on the paint, the liquidy paint, it'll sit right there, and that'll really just bring out the dimension of the piece. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing to all the other lines. As you get closer to the top of these lines, you want them to be thinner. But as you come down further towards the bottom, you want them to be a little bit thicker. You want that paint to sit in there more towards the bottom than the top. And that's going to create that shadowy, billowy look that you're going for with this ghost. Using a silicone tip tool, you can soften these lines. The harder you have them, you know, the paint's going to sink in there, and so it doesn't look as seamless. If that's the look you're going for, that's great. I've done a few pieces like that. I've done a couple of turtles where I have those harsher lines just so that they're really nice and defined. But using a silicone tip tool, you can soften those a little bit, and that will really make this look more billowy. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and do the eyes. With it being a smaller space that you kind of want, you can either have it, you know, all level and completely sunk in, or, you know, you can get more sunk in here at the top and kind of drift it out, kind of like it has, you know, like baggy eyes or something, that kind of droopy look. I think I'm going to do that instead of just push it all in. A ball tip tool, trying to get to focus, is really good for this. I can't remember where I got these, but I'm sure you can get them off Amazon as well. I've got a few different sizes here. I'm just going to use this little one to start getting that shape we want for the eyes. So what I'm doing is towards the bottom of the eyes here, I'm making a shallower, I guess, impression so that the paint doesn't sit so thick there. So like I said before, you get that soft, droopier look. And then as I get towards the top, I'm going to go in just a little bit deeper. As pretty much all clay crafters know, white is terrible to work with. Fortunately with the ghost, we're going to go over it with like a brown-black wash, and so any dust or anything is just really not that big of a deal. But what I'm doing right here is just picking out the little hairs or bigger bits of debris that I've found in the clay. Now using the silicone tip tool, you're going to go in and just kind of soften the eyes. Okay, and I think that finishes up our ghost for right now. So I'm going to get started on the pumpkin, but we're going to bake this, and then I'm going to come back and show y'all how to do the wash. The pumpkin's a little bit more intense. It's got a lot more pieces, so we're going to work on that one next, just so you can see a little more detail. I'm going to just do a sheet of orange clay. Just like the ghost, you're going to take the overall piece and place it on. Be kind of firm with it so it sticks. Kind of burnish it a little bit. You're going to take your tool again and trace the outside. You're going to pop it off. And then, just like we did with the ghost, you're going to use an X-Acto knife to cut the outside. Now that you've cut it out, you're going to pick it up and be very gentle and smooth the edges. We're going to put the segments of the pumpkin on first. So then we're just gonna use these as guides like we did with the ghost. You're gonna pop those off. We also have the back of the pumpkin here. This is very small. As you can see, I couldn't really get this piece off. This part, if you're comfortable with it, would probably be best just kind of eyeballing the back of this here. Or what you can do is just grab this stem and place it. And just kind of use that for the guide. And just create the other parts of the pumpkin, the segments here. The mouth was also very fiddly to cut out. I think just these smaller details, if you decide to not only make your own pumpkin using my Printable, but you know, using this technique to make other pieces, eyeballing or kind of just having an idea of what you want so that you can kind of draw the inside details on your own might be easier. You can push down firmly and then trace. And there you go, you have your pumpkin traced and ready to go for the shadow detailing. Just like the ghost, we're going to go in and, you know, kind of define those lines where you want the paint to sit. I have done a couple of these already, and I found it easier to do the segments of the pumpkin before doing the face. Now we're going to go ahead and do the face, kind of similar to how we did the ghost. You just want to push this down. I'm not going to do any kind of shallower places because I want this to look like it's been carved. So you're going to push this down quite a bit farther than the rest of these pieces. This is why you want to make your sheet of clay thicker than you would your regular earrings, because we don't want these to come out completely, but you do want them set back quite a bit. Alright, so now we're going to take our silicone tip tool. We're going to go in and smooth these out. If you have a tool similar to this, or I think even the silicone tool would work, you make kind of a light texture on the pumpkin, just doing a very light strokes to draw it across. And the paint will really bring this out. I think this adds to kind of the more realistic, spooky look to this jack-o'-lantern. Go ahead and bake the jack-o'-lantern and the ghost, and I will be back to show y'all how to do the wash. Alright, so we've got the baked pieces here. So now we're just going to do the wash, and I'm going to do a little bit of black. And I've got this dark brown here. And then a lighter brown for the ghost. And I've got some water over here to the side. And we're just going to go ahead and kind of just coat the pumpkin. You do want more paint to sit inside the eyes and the mouth. Alright, so we're just going to put that to the side and let that dry. And for the ghost, we're going to do this lighter brown. Alright, so we're just going to let this dry and then we'll come back. Alright guys, this is dried now. I apologize for the lighting. It's dark here now. We're going to take, some paper towels or a wipe or something and put some acetone on it, and you're just going to kind of gently clean it off. And you'll start to see the effect this gives. You don't want to rub away too much if you did that line detailing like texture on the pumpkin, because it'll come down too far and clean that out. But it came out really cool. Alright, do the ghost now. And I think the ghost could be left like this if you wanted to, but I kind of want to see what it'll look like cleaned up. I mean, it's got some spooky vibes to it. So we're gonna just gently clean that off. And you can see that detail work we did where we pushed down the clay and made the paint sit in there. That's how you can get that shadowy effect. Alright, and there you go. So there's the finished pumpkin and ghost, and I did want to go over what the difference between cutting it out yourself is and I guess kind of the pros and cons to both. So I do have a cutter available using the same design. Obviously this one's smaller. Same for this ghost here. And you can see the difference just in detail, and just these look a little more like little pieces of art where you can kind of see the uniformness of using the cookie cutter. But when you combine the two, trying to turn that two-dimensional shape into, or two-dimensional design into something more three-dimensional, you can get that nice in-between, I think. But what this shows also is that you can get just as good results cutting shapes yourself as you can a cookie cutter. The only problem with cutting it yourself is you probably can't go as fast as using a cookie cutter. But for things where you need some originality, or you don't want to spend money on a cutter you're only going to use once, I think this is an awesome option. Before I got a 3D printer, I had several designs that were asked for that I could not, that I did not want to order a cutter for. So, I did the same thing here where I drew the shape, I cut it out, and I deconstructed it so that you had the individual shapes and then put them over. The difference between these and the pumpkins and the ghost is that I cut out the shapes of like the shirt onto a different piece of clay and put it on top. And you just get, you know, very different effects from that. And these turtles, I did the same thing as the ghost and the pumpkin. So, but when you have a shape like this, you would just flip the design over the other way to mirror it. And there you go. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Kristen, for letting me be a part of this channel, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.